have 20 minutes, and you have 3 minutes to open and 2 minutes to close, and you may begin whenever you're ready.
All right, thank you. And I appreciate the willingness to see everyone again, I appreciate being here. I'd like to tell you some things about myself that perhaps you could not glean from my application, because I'm sure you've studied that and you'll have questions about that. I was born and raised in Gainesville. I was born into a family of entrepreneurs, so they taught me the value of hard work, but not just the value of hard work, the joy to be had in hard work. And I have brought that to our profession, not just in representing clients and in my work on the bench, but in our circuit, taking on additional responsibilities with administration and with the bar and the branch. In the bar, I teach at bar functions. I teach at the Circuit Conference and at the College of Advanced Judicial Studies. I have taken on various responsibilities of committees, including the Criminal Jury Instruction Committee and the Business and Contract Committee. And I am endeavoring to tackle the issues of the branch and the bar with regard to technology and the emerging technology, which is a challenge. It would certainly be my privilege to bring that love for our profession and the love of hard work to this institution.
Yeah, it was me, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, Judge. Rick Mitchell, I had the pleasure of vetting you this time around, and just the comments were not only a hard worker, intellectual, great researcher, great writer, but as you earned the position by virtue of your service to the bar and the community, I want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
One of the things that I'd like to ask you to expand on is just the range of different divisions that you've worked in for the court, and then maybe a focus on the civil portion of it, and how that would help you be a value-adding member of this court.
Absolutely. When I took the bench in 2003, I was assigned to the Circuit Criminal Division. And I was in that division until 2008. The last 2 years that I was in that division, I was the administrative judge of the criminal division. I moved from criminal to the family division. I was there for 2 years. And the last year that I was in family, I was the administrative judge of the family division. I then moved to the general civil division. I was there for 1 year and then moved into complex civil litigation court, which I've been in since 2012. And I have been the administrative judge of the Circuit Civil Division since 2012. I believe that broad range of experience would assist me in overseeing cases in this court, because I can do the heavy lifting that's needed to be done with regard to the complex civil litigation cases. I continue to learn every day, and I'm sure I will continue to learn until I am no longer on this planet. However, I also have the criminal experience. I'm board certified in criminal trial law, and over 70% of the cases, I believe, that come into this court are criminal cases. So I have the ability to analyze those issues and to render those opinions in an efficient and timely manner as well.
Thank you.
Judge, how would you go about, you're used to operating alone, and you're going into a situation with requiring you to obtain a consensus. And how would you do that, and specifically with respect to areas of the law where the court might be on the wrong track?
One of the challenges of being a trial judge is you have to make decisions quickly, and you generally make those decisions alone. You make them on the bench while you are in the spotlight. One of the privileges of being an appellate judge is you have colleagues that you can bounce ideas around with and discuss the nuances of cases. I will tell you that I do like working collaboratively. I work well with other people, but I'm not afraid to take leadership either. I think it is important, if you have issues where you are concerned that the court is on the wrong track or maybe heading down the wrong track, to gather your facts, to present your case, much like you would do if you were litigating. You will see in the materials one of the criminal pieces that I placed in here, one of the writing samples. You will see that I thought that there was some law that was not well taken. And I saw an avenue through a Florida Supreme Court case to ask the court to take a look at that again. And in doing that, I laid out how we got to where we were and why I thought the court had misapplied the more recent statute. And the court agreed with me. And I would take that same approach to attempting to garner consensus among a body of judges that might see things differently.
So Judge, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Welcome
Martin.
back.
Thank you.
You made the list last time around, and then I understand you made the shorter list.
And thank you for sending me out.
Just curious to know how your experience was with your interviews with the governor's office, the 2 interviews. What types of questions they asked, how you thought you did in the interviews, and if you are selected again, is there anything you would do different this time around in the interview process as opposed to your first time on?
Both interviews, both with the general counsel staff and with the governor's staff, were substantive. I think I was a bit surprised by the number of people that were involved in both interview processes. I expected that at the general counsel's office, but we had a room full of people when I met with the governor, and that was also a substantive interview. I must have done fine with the general counsel to get to the next step.
Yes.
But I do think that I would approach it a bit differently this time, only because I would be less nervous, because I would know what to expect from this general counsel and this governor.
I remember the first time you came before this committee, you were a little nervous.
I was very
And
nervous,
you
yes.
improved substantially.
Well, thank you, I appreciate that.
As time has gone by. What types of questions did you get from the governor? Different from what you had experienced at the general counsel's office?
I'm trying to remember the first question the governor asked. The first question the governor asked me was a pretty obvious one. Why do you do this? Because you obviously love what you do. And then it got much more substantive after that. They wanted to know basically my philosophy in interpreting statutory provisions and in interpreting contracts, my experience with business, my experience in complex civil litigation court. Those sorts of issues were raised. General counsel's office raised, they wanted to know how current I was on the U.S. Supreme Court law and what I felt about various things that were being argued at that time in front of the Supreme Court. One of the ones that was being argued was the cell phone case, Riley versus California, and it had not yet been decided. So it happened to be there the week that was being argued in the court.
So if you can think of anything they asked you that we didn't, you can volunteer to ask yourself.
Thank you.
All right.
You were a private practitioner
I
at one time,
was.
right? Tell me how that experience would help you in this role if you were to be selected here.
One of the nice things about not only being at the state attorney's office, but being a private practitioner, is I had the privilege of representing both the state of Florida at one point during my career and individual citizens. And I got to meet those individual citizens during some of the worst times of their life, because I represented them in both criminal cases and family cases, and those are terribly emotionally taxing on anyone that finds themselves in those situations. In addition to just understanding both the law and the human dynamic that many times is the underpinning of a case, it gave me an appreciation of being a small business owner, paying employees, and making payroll, paying your expenses, understanding that as the owner of the company, you're the last one to get paid. Everyone else gets paid before you do, and the more work you put in, the better off you are going to be, and the more likely it is you're going to be able to support your family.
Last question. Judge Munyon, it's great to see you.
Good to see you.
Obviously, I've been in front of you in business court, and I think you do a great job. Can you elaborate a little bit on how you got to business court? What's going to happen to business court if you do get appointed here? I mean, obviously, you probably can't tell me what judge is next in line, but how did you get there, and how has that experience prepared you to come to this court?
Our court has a rotation policy that allows you to move after 2 years and allows someone to bump you out of a division after 3. The only exception to that is business court, which is a 5-year assignment. And it is a 5-year assignment because the cases are more difficult, the area of law is more difficult, and sometimes the cases tend to take longer. Because I had, and business court, unlike all of the other divisions, is not one that you can select as, I want to be, number 1 is business court, and then 2, 3, 4, 5. It is one that is assigned by the chief judge. And the chief judge handpicks those that go in there, I believe, to ensure that there is continuity in the business court, that there are those that have both the intellectual acumen and the work ethic to get the work done. So I think that I got there because I had put in a lot of hard work up to that point, and the chief judge recognized that I had the ability to do a good job in that role, and I continue to grow in that role. It's a challenging court, but I love it. I have found that the longer I'm there, it has brought out the inner geek in me. I like researching and writing, and it gives me a great opportunity to do that. Did that answer your question?
Yes. I guess you can't tell me what's going to happen if you do get appointed.
Someone else will go there.
Yeah. Just
And I can, because our chief judge now is Judge Lawton,
Mhm.
who
Who was
spent
business
5
court.
years in business court, I can guarantee you that it will be someone that has the ability to do it and a good, strong work ethic. They will be able to hit the ground running. I have absolutely no doubt.
It's good when you don't get a lot of questions.
Well, I just want to compliment you. I attended a seminar that Judge Munyon taught with Judge Blackwell on the economic loss rule. And I was enlightened, and I was really impressed with it. But while I'm on that subject, where do you see the economic loss rule heading, since you are an authority?
Judge Blackwell and I kid each other about that moniker. We wrote the article on the economic loss rule because we wanted to learn about it. And quite frankly, I don't think I know where it's going at this point. I think it depends upon, in some measure, the cases that are vetted in the lower appellate court. You're going to have cases that are both, the facts are compelling, you have a compelling opinion from the appellate court, and then I think the Supreme Court, will take a look at it and we will see where it goes from there. I think what's going to happen is we are going to get disparate views from the various appellate courts here, and it's ultimately going to end up in conflict jurisdiction in the Supreme Court. It would be my goal on this court to, if I got some of those cases, to write an opinion that could garner that a majority of the Supreme Court to ensure that the common law contract remains in effect. We cannot function as a society, as a state, if you cannot count on the law of contract being enforceable, if you're concerned that a tort can be filed in every contract case. So it would be my goal to write an opinion that would garner a majority of the Supreme Court justices to thoroughly put that issue to rest. You can certainly see that Justice Pariente was leaning that way in Tierra Condominium, but my concern was she was not able to garner a majority support for her position.
So if you had to characterize what you think the state of that rule is now, how would you describe the state of the economic loss rule?
Well, it clearly only applies to products liability. And that, I think, is clear from the opinion. The other fallout from Tierra Condominium, I think, is unknown at this stage. There are those that believe that you can now file tort claims and get tort damages in contract cases. In my, in the summary judgments and motions to dismiss that I have ruled upon, I have found that that is not the case, that the older Supreme Court cases that indicate that you have to have a tort independent of contract are still good law. And I don't know that any of those are presently pending here, but some may be.
There are those in the bar that are of the view that the economic loss rule has been eradicated by that case. At least, you know, you have specific facts, but you have language that is less than clear.
I think it has been eradicated in contract cases. And they seem to indicate a clear determination that it was only a viable doctrine in products liability cases.
That's what's that.
And I didn't find it as difficult to apply in contract cases as they seem to think trial judges found it. But it is what it is, and we have to live with it.
Thank you.
We are at the
Oh.
2-minute
Okay.
for a close.
Great. Well, I thank you for your time today. I hope that I get the privilege of your support to go to the governor. I will tell you that I have done a lot of thinking about what it takes to be a good appellate judge. And I think it takes experience from many slices of life, from disparate points of view, a practiced eye with a long view of the law and an understanding of the historical underpinnings of the law. At this stage in my career, I have 11 plus years of legal writing and legal analysis under my belt. There will be no surprises with regard to my legal philosophy. I also think it takes a passion for writing and legal research and an ability to write a clean, distinct opinion. I believe that my writing has shown that I have the ability to do that. And I do enjoy the intellectual exercise of the research and writing and rewriting again. Inevitably, that's what happens. And I do enjoy working collaboratively with others, but I am not afraid to take a leadership role. If I have the privilege of being sent to the governor from this commission, I will strive every day to make this commission proud. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you have a very good day.
Thank
You
you.
too.
And I head out that way?
Yeah.
Either way.
Doesn't matter.
I'll head this way. Thank you.
Thank you.